fuel costs have once again hit a record high, with the price of petrol at UK forecourts reaching 175.6p a litre.
And the RAC boss has now warned that the average price at the pump could soar to £2 a litre. It is already in some places as high as that. That's by this summer. Let's bring in Howard Cox. He joins us in the studio this morning. He's the founder of Fair Fuel UK. Welcome to the programme. Thanks for coming in. This is a really worrying picture, and in the context of all the implications that we've just been hearing from Simon Calder and the effects on ordinary commuters when it comes to trains, when it comes to tubes, when people are trying to go away on holidays after years of delay. They've got all the woes on the roads now as well.
Well, it's good old Joe Public getting it in the neck again. And the situation is the government could sort this all out, particularly with fuel prices, because pump prices are at the moment something like 15 to 20p higher than they should be, simply because there's opportunistic profiteering further up in the fuel supply chain. And the government have allowed this to happen for decades after decades. And that's why I'm working with some backbench MPs to try and bring in a body called Pump Watch.
Yeah, is that sorry, and would they advocate the naming and shaming of those who are profiteering? I know that Boris Johnson was talking about doing that a week or so ago.
Well, he responded to the pressure we put on him, calling on Pump Watch. We've been fighting for this for about 4 to 5 years. The previous Exchequer Secretary before the last election was Robert Jenrick, and he asked me to go away and come up with a process of how Pump Watch would work. And we all agreed that in the initial stages it should be a voluntary process, so that garages actually volunteer to actually have perhaps a kite mark up on the garage forecourt, which simply says we adhere to fair pricing and transparent pricing when oil prices change. But that's not happening. We're seeing a situation now, we're at $120 a barrel of oil at the moment. When it was $120 a barrel about 4 months ago, pump prices were 40 pence cheaper. So what's happening? What is this calculation? Why is it so opaque? Why is it so secretive? All we want, everyone to make a fair profit in the fuel supply chain. And please don't blame the retailers, the independent garages. They, unfortunately, are getting in the net from people going, why are prices so high? It is further up the fuel supply chain, up in with wholesalers and the oil companies.
And what about the tax on the fuel, though? I mean that's a huge part of the price, and not just the fuel duty. We're talking about the VAT, which drives that fuel duty. A lot of people saying it should be cut. Or even
5 pence off. What are you complaining about?
Well, yeah.
we all saw that, didn't we? The thing is, I mean, I've been fighting for the last 13 years, and one reason why our campaign is successful, we got a fuel duty cut in that freeze for 13 years. We got that 5p cut. Wow, whoopee! No one saw it. None of our supporters. We got 1.7 million supporters, and they are crippled by these prices at the moment. There are even people who can't get to medical appointments because they can't afford to fill their car.
And look, we started by talking about a good old Joe Public getting it in the neck, but it is wider than that. We've heard from a farmer this morning talking about the implications on his business. We talk a lot about HGV drivers on this programme, and this in general is just bad for the economy.
Absolutely right. It's common sense to think if you put more disposable income into people's pockets, they spend. At the moment, they're spending money on just getting to work or having to do things. I mean, we've done a survey with our supporters, and something like just the weekly shop has now become a monthly shop. They can't afford to go out every week like they used to do. So it's impacting on the high street. Your point is very valid. We're backed by the Road Haulage Association, and something like the average trucker is spending something like 50 to 60% of their daily income on fuel. They can't invest in cleaner fuels. They can't invest in recruiting HGV drivers, training them. All those sorts of things are happening. The impact of fuel is massive, and the government honestly, they're sleepwalking into a catastrophe here.
Yeah, Howard, really good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for joining us, Howard Cox, founder of the Fair Fuel UK campaign.